Hi, welcome to Module 3, Unit 1, Support Reactions. The support reaction problems is also known as coplanar non-concurrent force system problems. Coplanar non-concurrent force system problems. These are the problems which were specified in Module 2, Unit 1. So, we are doing Module 3, Unit 1 in that support reaction. For any structure to balance, we need supports. For any structure to balance itself, we need the supports. Nothing but upon the support, we are applying some forces. That forces we call that one as action. Upon the support, we are applying some action. As per the Newton third law, for every action there will be equal and opposite reaction. So, if we apply some action on the support will reproduce the reactions. That type of support reactions we need to calculate. Before going to this one, we will take the beam structure, the beam structural element, and we are going to calculate the support reaction in case of the beam supports. So, let us take one simple beam problem. The horizontal member is known as the beam. It will be provided with supports. Upon this beam, the loads are going to act. The horizontal member or the horizontal line, we call that one as the beam technically. Above the beam, there will be a loads. Below the beam, there will be supports. Here we come across three things. They are here horizontal member, we call that one as beam. Then above the beam we have loads, and below the beam we have supports. Okay. If we come to the classification of these things, then there are three types of loads. There are three types of loads, 4 types of supports, and 5 types of beams. If we come to the classification of load, supports, and beam, it's a 3-4-5 classification. 3-4-5 classification, 3 loads, 4 supports, and 5 beams. Now let us look into that one by one. First, supports. So, okay, first let us go to the beams. Here we have 5 types of beams. They are the first one is simply supported beam. The second one is overhanging beam, simply supported. Then the second one is continuous beam. Then the third one is overhanging beam. Then the fourth one is cantilever beam. And the fifth one is fixed beam. So, these are the 5 types of beams. These are the 5 types of beams. Now let us look into that one by one. These are the types of beams. Beam is nothing but a horizontal line. So I am going to write 5 horizontal lines here. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now depending upon how the support is provided to this horizontal line, we classify beams into 5 types. Suppose if we provide 2 simple supports at the ends, then we call that one as simply supported beam. Suppose a beam is provided with more than 2 supports, then we call that one as continuous beam. If a part of a beam is extended behind the supports, then we call that one as overhanging beam. If a portion of the beam is extended behind the support, then we call that one as overhanging beam. Then cantilever, if this beam has 2 ends, suppose if a beam is provided with fixed support at one end and free at the another end, we call that one as cantilever beam. Then in a beam, if both ends are provided with fixed support, then we call that one as fixed beam. This is regarding the beam classification. Here we have 5 types. A simply supported beam, a beam provided with 2 simple supports at the ends. Continuous beam, a beam with more than 2 supports. Overhanging beam, if a portion of the beam is extended behind the support, then we call that one as overhanging beam. Cantilever beam, if one end of the beam is fixed, another end is free, we call that one as cantilever beam. Fixed beam, if both the ends of the beam are fixed, we call that one as fixed beam. Then we will look into the types of supports. There are 4 types of supports. They are simple support, then we have roller support, then we have hinged support, then the last one, 4th one is fixed support. We have 4 types of supports: simple, roller, hinged and fixed. Now let us link it. Each support will produce different types of reactions. So let us look into that. Generally we have 3 reactions that will move in horizontal direction, vertical direction and rotational direction. Now these are the names of the supports. We should know how we are going to indicate that type of supports. So let us write the support. First, for the beam we are going to provide the support. Let us write the beam. Simple support, either we can write one simple triangle or one simple rectangle or a single line. That will be the indication of simple support. Then roller support, a triangle, then below that some rollers, that is balls, then shaded line. This will be the roller support. Then hinged support, write a triangle with shaded line, that will become the hinged support. then fixed support. Without any triangle, if we write a line directly and if we shade it, then it will be the indication of fixed support. Then we should know this is the name, this is the indication of the supports. Then for every support there will be a reactions. So let us look into that. Simple support will be having a single reaction that acts perpendicular to the plane. This is the plane. To this one it will act perpendicular. So if we consider this point as A point, then it will be RA, or we call that one as VA. Let us call that one as VA or VB, whatever it is. Let it be V. Then roller support is having only one reaction that acts perpendicular to the plane, that is this plane. It will act, this is the roller plane, to this one it will act perpendicular. Simple support is having only one reaction that acts perpendicular to this contact plane. Roller support is also having only one reaction that acts perpendicular to the roller plane. These are the rollers. Below that, whatever the line is there, no, we call that one as roller plane. To this roller plane, the reaction will act perpendicular. Since it is horizontal now, it will act vertical. Okay. Then hinged support. Here, hinged support will be having two reaction. We classify into horizontal and vertical. Horizontal reaction, vertical reaction. Then if we come to the fixed support, here you will be having three reactions, that is, one is horizontal, another one is vertical, then next one is moment. Horizontal, vertical and moment. So finally we can say the simple support will be having only one reaction, roller support one reaction, then hinged support will be having two reaction, fixed support will be having three reaction. It is 1, 1, 2, 3. Number of reactions in the supports. These are the number of these are the reactions, support reactions. These are the support indication. These are the support names. Okay. Then we will move on to the next thing, that is beams over, supports over. We left out with loads. We know that there are three types of load. So they are point load, or also we call that one as concentrated load. Next one is uniformly distributed load. We simply write that one as UDL, uniformly distributed load. And the third one is UVL, uniformly varying load. Point load, uniformly distributed load, uniformly varying load. Now how to indicate that one? For that the load is going to act on the beam. First let us write three beams first. Point load is nothing but the load which is concentrating at a single point, we call that one as point load, that is indicated by the line. Then UDL, UDL is nothing but the load will be distributed uniformly over the given length of the beam, we call that one as UDL. The load will be distributed uniformly, we call that one as UDL. Then next one is UVL, nothing but the load is varying uniformly. The load is varying, but it is varying uniformly. we call this one as UVL. These are the indication of point load, UDL and UVL. So, this is regarding the beam, supports and the loads. And one more thing, while solving the problem, we need to write the pre-body diagram for the given diagram. While writing the pre-body diagram, whenever UDL and UVL is given, we convert that into point load. Whenever UDL and UVL is given, we convert that into point load. Here the point load is acting at a single point, but here the load is acting over the multiple points, over the entire length. So, how to convert that one? So, let us look into that. Okay, I will tell by taking another instance. Load conversion. Now, take the UDL. This is A point, B point, and let the load will be some 3 Newton per meter. It is the load intensity, and let the distance be some 4 meter. This is one case. This is one case. The next case, it will be UVL. Uniformly varying load, or also we call that one as triangular load, since it is of the shape triangle. Let the load intensity be 3 Newton per meter. This is A point, B point, and let the distance be 6 meter. So, these are the two cases. Okay, first let us solve this one, then we will move on to the further things. Then, okay, I will write the line as it is, AB, then here also AB. Now, we are talking about how to convert UDL and UVL into point load. The point load will act at a single point. So, while converting UDL and UVL into point load, we need to keep two things in mind, that is where it will act and how much it will act. Where and how much. So, UDL will be converted into point load and it will be acting at the center. So, since it is 4 meter, it will act at 2 meter. Where it will act? At the center. So, write down this side it is 2 meter, this side it is 2 meter, and it is the 3 Newton for 1 meter, 3 Newton per meter, 3 Newton for 1 meter. What about for entire 4 meter? Since it is uniformly distributed, so therefore 3 Newton multiplied by the distance, that is 4, you are going to get the load. So, how much it will act? The load intensity multiplied by the span, that is 3 into 4. The meter get cancelled, you are going to get Newton, 3 into 4 Newton. So, how to convert UDL? Where it will act? At the center. How much it will act? Load intensity multiplied by the span. Span is nothing but distance. Then, if we come to the UVL, so where here we have, this is the right angle triangle, this is acute angle side, this is right angle side. So, where it will act? From the acute angle side, it will act at a distance of 2 by 3 into distance. From the right angle side, it will act at a distance of 1 by 3 into distance. From the acute angle, it will act at a distance of 2 by 3 into distance, that is nothing but 2 by 3 multiplied by the distance is 6. Then from the right angle side it will act at a distance of 1/3 of the span, that is 1/3 of 6. So, you will come to know where it will act. From the right angle 1 by 3, from the acute angle 2 by 3. So, how much it will act? It will be equal to half into base into height. Half into base is how much? 6 meter, 6 into height is how much? 3 Newton per meter. This will be considered as the height, 3. So, meter get cancel, you will get Newton. Half into base into height. I will repeat once again. While converting UDL UVL into point load, you need to keep two things in mind: where it will act and how much it will act. For UDL, where it will act? At the center. How much it will act? Load multiplied by the distance. Then for UVL, where it will act? From the acute 2 by 3, from the right angle 1 by 3. How much it will act? Half into base into height. Okay, there are some other instances where you are going to get the combination of these two. That is, you may get the load like this. Okay, this is A point, B point, let the distance be 6 meter only, and here the intensity is some 2 Newton per meter. Here the total intensity is some 8 Newton per meter. Then how to convert this one? So, we are going to draw a line here. We are going to assume a line. Then the below portion will become UDL, the above portion will become UVL. You need to convert one by one. Let's convert it, this problem. I will write a line AB. First let us convert UDL. Okay, where it will act? At the center. Okay, I will make use of different pen. Where it will act? At the center. So, how much it will act? Load into distance. Here the load intensity is how much? 2 Newton per meter. For UDL, only this much is the UDL. The load intensity is 2 Newton per meter. So, 2 multiplied by distance is 6. 2 into 6. Then, here we have UVL. So, where it will act? From the acute angle, it will act at a distance of 2 by 3 into distance. So, somewhere you are going to get here. Okay. Then, how much it is going to act? First, let us write the distance. Since the UDL is going to act at the center, it will become 3 meter, and again here it will become 3 meter. For UDL. Then if we come to the UVL, it will act at a distance of 2 by 3 into distance. From the acute angle 2 by 3 into 6. Then from here it will become 1 by 3 into 6. Okay. Then how much it is going to act? Half into base into height. Half into base is how much? 6 meter. Into height is how much? 8 Newton per meter. Now, out of 8 Newton per meter, out of 8, deduct 2 of the UDL. So, we left out with 6. 8 is nothing but it is the total height. Out of that, we need to deduct this UDL height. We left out with 8 minus 2, 6. So, the height will be 6 Newton per meter. So, if you multiply, you are going to get in terms of newtons. So, this is regarding one thing. And suppose and some other case, in some other case, rare cases, you are going to get equilateral triangle. Let us consider that one as 3 Newton per meter. This is A point, B point, and the total distance, let it be 6 meter. Now, how to convert this one? Here we have two options. Either consider half of the triangle, it will become right angle triangle, UVL, then you can convert. Or since it is a isosceles triangle or equilateral triangle, what you can do means, just write the line AB. Then since it is equilateral triangle or isosceles triangle, where it is going to act means it will act exactly at the center. It will act exactly at the center, that is nothing but this side 3 meter, this side 3 meter. How much it will act means, area of the total triangle, half into base into height, half into, here the base is total length, that is 6, into height, that is 3 newtons. These are the 4 cases you are going to get while solving the problem. These are the 2 main cases. By using these 2, we have formed another combination cases. Then, how to solve the problems? We are going to solve all the problems by using equilibrium conditions. So, how the method to solve the problem? The method, here we have only one type of problem, that is support reaction problems. Then which are the methods available to solve the problem? We are going to solve all the problems by using equilibrium conditions. By using equilibrium conditions or equations. We already know that for coplanar non-concurrent force system, we have 3 conditions of equilibrium. They are sigma fx is equal to 0, sigma fy is equal to 0, and sigma m is equal to 0. And one more thing you need to remember, while solving the problem, for our convenience, only for our convenience, we will take moment first, sigma m is equal to 0 first, then sigma fy is equal to 0 and sigma fx is equal to 0. We will solve the problem in the reverse order to get the answers directly. Sigma m, sigma fy, sigma fx. If you know these basics, then we will move on to the problems. And one more thing, here we are going to solve only the 2 problems, that includes all types of supports, all types of loads, then all types of load combination. That itself is sufficient for this particular unit. It covers all the things. Thank you.